Challenges affecting KCCA in terms of making Kampala city more organized have come to the spotlight yet again, following reports that KCCA is battling an investor who's backed by the Vice President Edward Sakandi and the brother to President Museveni, Michael Nwajira, also known as Toyota. The investor, through a company called Fortune East Africa, wants to set up a car showroom on Plot 42 along Nile Avenue, but part of the structure being set up is inside of the road reserve. KCCA, which granted the license, objected to further development after it discovered that the investor did not follow the approved plan. The Vice President wrote to the KCCA asking them not to block the development on grounds that it could scare away investors. The matter has returned the debate on the constraint KCCA is faced with, and now MPs are demanding that all illegal structures in Kampala must be erased and that public roads that have been closed be reopened. KCCA has indicated that there are hundreds of illegal structures that could be affected, yet a majority of them are owned by the powerful and rich. KCCA is at the same time battling taxi drivers who have since been blocked out of the 2 taxi parks for redevelopment, which has already commenced. The above challenges add on to the leadership wrangles between the Lord Mayor, the KCCA Executive Director and the councillors. The KCCA Act provides that the city authority must approve all programs to be implemented by the Executive Director, but councillors who are said to be in cahoots with the Executive Director have frustrated all council meetings. So now to look at the efforts by Parliament to help KCCA deliver on its mandate and just how Parliament can help it. Considering the political and financial muscle that some culprits command, we will also find out if Parliament is taking any steps to curtail leadership wrangles at KCCA now that they are emerging as an obstacle to service delivery. Our guests tonight, Honorable Barnabas Tinkasiimire, Member of Parliament for Buyaga West, also Chairman of the Presidential Affairs Committee. You're most welcome, Honorable Tinkasiimire.
Thank you, our host, and good evening, our listeners.
Also joined by Honorable Luyiga, Makerere University KCCA councilor, also Vice Chairperson of the Legal Administration and Physical Planning Committee at KCCA. You're most welcome, Honorable Luyiga.
Yeah, thank you very much, Edmond, but I'm not honorable. It's only honorable.
No, even you.
Honorable.
Even at NC too.
But where there is honorable Tinkasiimire?
No, we agreed. We have no problem.
Thank you very much. This is the member of Parliament who has based on the honor.
Honorable Luyiga, what's the main obstacle to service delivery at KCCA broadly?
No, of course, I believe Honorable also agree with us that for me, I've always been telling the public the main challenge is the law, the KCCA Act 2010, which was passed, of course, in haste, and then we didn't have enough time to really be sensitized about this act. Of course, in respect the roles and responsibilities of the elected leaders vis-a-vis the responsibilities and the duties for the mandate of the appointed leaders, and this regard the executive director and the technical team. So we see some kind of duplication of roles. You find the road mayor or the politicians being given the responsibilities that are supposed to be done by the technical team, and again you see the same section like section 17, the executive director and the management team doing some of the functions of the politicians, and that has been, for me, that is the gist of the matter. That is what's causing the problem. We didn't have enough time to really maybe internalize this law, and we hope, of course, we sent our petition to Parliament. I remember we faced Honorable Tinkasiimire's committee, and we hope maybe one of the recommendations was that we asked Parliament to review, to make an amendment to that act, because there's some kind of loopholes in the act. But also the politics, Edmond, I will not really shy away. We also have politics, even where we see we can have a common agenda that is transforming the city, but at the same time we have our politics in the city, the opposition, then of course opposition, and then NRM. So we saw some kind of politics. But at the end of it all, I think much as we had a poor law, or we have a poor law, we would put that aside, and then we agree. We would have agreed to move, but of course with the politics, I think it has really done us a disservice. But I think now things are getting toned down on demand. As you agree, now you see Parliament coming up. We have been lacking such entities that can support KCCA, but when we have now Parliament coming to augment the efforts of KCCA, we are seeing now at the light at the end of the tunnel, and we expect really some kind of achievements to be registered this financial year.
How about unplanned developments? How bad are they to destroying your service delivery agenda?
Yes, of course, we should agree. I mean, Edmond, you know this. Kampala was, the current city, Kampala, we have a population of about 5 million people during that day.
At the moment, 5 million daytime.
5 million, then at night about 3 m. But of course we have a population which is big in size, but then we have resources that are limited. The roads.
What was the plan originally?
500,000.
500,000 people.
500,000 people. But now we are supposed to take care of 5 million people during the day. That's why we've seen that. In fact, the former KCCA, of course, I happen to be also a member, but I mean people would do shadow work, and then they would give that as an explanation. You do the road today, and then tomorrow cracks develop, and then you say, no, this is the problem. We have a big population. But now at least we are getting some kind of considerable support from government, because at least in terms of financial support, and but of course at the top of it all, the Edmond and the listeners, what we are glad about is that at least entities like Parliament now, if they have started coming up to appreciate KCC's work, I think we shall really move. And I'm convinced if also Parliament can go ahead to look even into the law, which has some kind of loopholes, I believe we shall move. And I'm confident, Edmond, that if the support we have now started receiving from entities like Parliament just go on, then we have another, other entities also come on board, I think we shall have really a transformed city in the next 1 or 2 years.
Very briefly, I would like you to talk to us about the public taxi parks. What's happening with them? You're supposed to have closed them, I think, today.
No. Yes, we made an extension because the people cried, and they were saying they didn't give us enough time. Much as, of course, the politics, even when we gave enough time, because we extended up to 30th of September.
Yes.
So we expect that by that time they will have gone out. Yeah, that's a new.
That's for the new park.
Yeah. So we are working on. In fact, people ask us about the plots around. No, our area of mandate is basically the carpet,
the open yard,
the carpet. The plots, the mayor who owned the plots, that one's none of our business because they were given out. And then for us, we're working on the carpet. We want to see better parks, because when trains, Edmond, I know here Radio 1 is just nearby. I mean, it's just nearby these parks. When it rains, the parks become the condition become deplorable. So we hope that of course work is commencing next month, and within 6 months work shall be accomplished, and I believe people will see what a park must, how a park must look like.
Okay. Yeah. Honorable Tinkasiimire, you have been opposing plans by an investor to develop an important car showroom somewhere. Why do you impose investors?
You have never run a sort of controversies. You can hear him. How do you create our listeners with such a beginning? These are just to me, this is a man named after a motor vehicle and he wants a showroom. What do you want him to do? A showroom in the middle of the city.
And he's named after a motor vehicle. Talk to us. Why do you oppose such investors?
For God's sake, if he's a serious investor, he should also respect our laws here. Our laws say you are not going to start investing on roads, in road reserves. Then we say you can have your way because we are poor. No. Afterwards, go to the money, he even carries it away and takes it back home. But that is not the major point. The major point is that he's in the wrong. You can't go to China, whether you have how many billions, and you even break the slightest, even throwing, you can imagine, even littering. They will take you back to your own home country, extradite you. The man is here, he's an investor, he's constructing unabated on a road reserve. The next thing I want to see, this is not an investor we should have here, really. And it's very, very unfortunate that even leaders at the highest level of a vice president could well knowing of the law, he goes ahead and says we can even hold a meeting with the KCCA and circumvent the law. Definitely, during this show, I greatly thank the KCCA executive director and her staff for putting her feet on the ground and saying, okay, we may not disagree with you in the meeting, but when it comes to our desk, we shall do what is right. They wrote to her, they wrote to him a very hot letter saying, we are going to go ahead and demolish this matter. And they realized that since it was involving political power, they came to our committee.
Sure.
And I am glad. I want to thank my members of the committee for exhibiting high quality of leadership, saying if all Ugandans are to live in this country, they must obey the law. There is no one who should be above the law. Second, if you are also an investor to come here, you should also obey our laws. Invest according to the law.
Investors?
Even investors.
Really?
Yes, even investors. They can have their field day in sectors which are not overseen by our committee. As long as for me, I'm a chairperson
Of the Presidential Affairs Committee.
Yes, anybody who wants to invest in this city must obey the law.
But what are you going to do? Policemen come to effect a demolition and they find soldiers with cocked guns. What are you going to do?
Well, today we have been able to call the IGP, who was represented
Inspector
by
General Police.
Yes. The next time we are going to do is to call the Minister of Defense and the Commander in Chief, the CDF.
The Commander of the Defense, so the Army Commander.
The Army Commander, to come and explain why we have these homes guarded by these, why we have these developments being guarded by army men. What are they doing there? If they have nothing to do in the barracks, at least they can be deployed to fight Al-Shabaab in Somalia.
Some of them have gone.
If because I am certain that we still need, they can request other countries to withdraw, and we only say that since our soldiers are very able to that level, that they are only doing the work of abating lawbreakers in this land, they would rather go and do what is at least legal to fight for the peace of this continent, Africa.
Listeners, this is Petra Moreyon. Tonight, how will Parliament help KCCA deliver? Looking at some operational constraints. Our guests tonight, Honorable Barnabas Tinkasiimire, Buyaga West MP, also Chairman of the Presidential Affairs Committee, Honorable Bernard Luyiga, Makerere University KCCA Councilor, also Vice Chairman, Chairperson of the Legal Administration and Physical Planning Committee at KCCA. You will be able to contribute to this discussion. What do you think, before we come to Honorable Luyiga, what do you think, how you explain this? What is the root of this kind of lawlessness?
Well, I think, first of all, the problems my colleague Luyiga has cited, some of them are real, like the politics. The politics has messed up this city. And because this is why an investor, if he has to get land, he has to run to the president and say, you give me a particular land, and it must be within the city. He has to, even when he's making a mistake in a wetland, he's investing in the wetland, he has to run to some big people to silence either police not to do their job. This is why you had to see this investor had to run to the vice president. Politics. Save for the bad politics within the council, the city council, of fighting
internal
politics. But I am glad that this law, where I actually disagree with my colleague Luyiga, is that the law is bad. No, the law is not actually serving the needs of the politicians. is not serving the needs of the politicians.
Yes.
That's why they are actually seeing it as a bad law.
It's become an enemy to them.
Yes, of course, they can't have their way, so they say it is a bad law. The purpose of this law was actually to depoliticize the city, to remove politics from the city and its management. This is why we chose to create a ceremonial head and trim some powers from the mayor and put them to the ED. Such that we have a powerful ED who will do what is right. And I am glad that she's on top of her job, doing what is right. You bring the bribes, she calls the police. You impose yourself that I'm the vice president, the former speaker who even enacted who was presiding over the making of this act that gave you a job. She says no. To hell with you. I will write you a very hot letter.
I've seen one of the hot letters here sent to the vice president and basically telling the old man off. Honorable Luyiga, do we have a plan for this city, or people can build anywhere? Maybe I need a plot in the old park so I can grow beans there. Do we have a plan?
But Edmond, again, I also disagree with the lawmaker. For us, we stand our ground, Honorable. We say the law needs to be amended because, Honorable, you're an elected official. You know how your people elected you. It would have been fine, Edmond, the listeners, if you wanted to depoliticize the city, then do it with the politicians altogether.
Maybe we'll talk about those details as well. But let's first of all deal with the plan, the city. We'll talk about the internal policy at KCCA. Let's look at beyond KCCA internally. Do you have a plan for the city, or people can come and do things anyhow they want?
Of course, we have plans, but most importantly, we have the laws governing such plans. For instance, you've been talking about the demolition of these illegal structures. I think, Honorable, maybe you also inform us. We submitted to Parliament a list of the buildings that we think are really places that are really that are not gazetted for such buildings. But for us, we're working in the law. In fact, the demolition exercise, which we are going to do tomorrow, in case.
You're going to break up that building tomorrow?
That's what. Yeah, that is our plan.
At 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
At the strike of dawn.
The building will be down.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Yeah, so we acted under the Public Health Act.
Rain or sunshine, it might begin to rain in the morning.
No, whether it rains, whether it shines how, whether it has hailstorms, whether they are lightning, engineered by those people who either have gone to Zaire or Nigeria, that building must come down.
So, Edmond, as the Honorable has really emphasized it, for us we gave a list of those buildings, and so, because there are some buildings which we are really sensitive, I won't mention them here, they're sensitive, but of course Parliament, as the legislative organ, they will advise the authority on how to go about it. For us, we cannot. But these structures that are just coming up in our current term of office, currently in KCCA, if there's an opportunity, we are saying that the laws be followed. We want compliance, and with the demolition, we acted under Section 21 of the Public Health Act, because there was the alteration. If we allowed you to have a building, then why do you alter the plans? This is what has been happening.
Not alter the plan.
Exactly. So those buildings that have whose plans have been altered, of course, they have been given a notice. And I think with the demolition of this building tomorrow, I will send out a message, a serious message, to even those illegal structures and even those who are planning to really change to alter the plans that have been given to them by KCCA.
Regardless of what the vice president said. And one of the owners has a name. He was named after a motor vehicle, and he wants to do a car showroom there. So that does not concern you. This is Spectrum Radio, and we're going for a break. We'll be back. I have a list here of some of the illegal buildings. One of them is a hotel that sounds very nice with the build part of it swinging the road reserve. We'll look at those. Another building had an approved parking space. They turned it into a nightclub. Heads bombing in the night. We'll be back after this break.
From the night As we celebrate 50 special years, Nile Special invites you to toast to our great land. Nile Special, the rich, rewarding taste from the source. You've earned it.
When I sip from the Nile.
Not for sale to persons under 18.
Overload! More talk for everyone! Guaranteed!
Everybody talking like this in the car, this in the bar. Doesn't even matter wherever you are with overload. What you really don't know is one number. You get a little bit more.
Talk a little longer. Send text to all your loved ones and laugh a little longer.
Get 15% extra airtime guaranteed every time you load with MTN. Simply dial *145#. Get talking all day up to midnight with MTN Overload.
MTN. Everywhere you go.
Bank of Uganda and the Uganda Bureau of Statistics are conducting a survey on the real estate sector to collect data on price of land and property. The data collected will help policymakers better understand the economy and business people to plan for their investments. The monthly survey, which will be conducted in Kampala, Mukono, Wakiso, and Entebbe, will collect information on purchase and sale of land, residential houses, and rent of commercial premises for business and industrial purposes. The survey data will be published by Bank of Uganda and the Uganda Bureau of Statistics on a quarterly basis and will be available to the public at no cost. Interviewers with clear identification will visit real estate agents, property owners, and mortgage lenders to complete survey forms. Bank of Uganda assures the public that the information will be kept confidential, only published in aggregate forms, and will not be used for tax purposes. Bank of Uganda appeals to the public to cooperate fully with the interviewers.
Spectrum on Radio 1 FM 90.
Welcome back on Spectrum. Tonight, how will Parliament help KCCA deliver? Looking at its operational constraints, including powerful men and women sometimes coming in face-to-face with the law. Our guests tonight, Honorable Barnabas Tinkasiimire, Buyaga West MP, also Chairman of the Presidential Affairs Committee, Honorable Bernard Luyiga, Makerere University KCCA councilor, also Vice Chairperson of the Legal, Administration and Physical Planning Committee at KCCA. You will be able to call in and contribute to this discussion at some stage. Honorable Tinkasiimire, 80% of buildings in Kampala are not planned. Are you going to break down 80% of Kampala, or you go away and build another city, some other place?
Well, you could have a building that is not really planned, but when it is not actually like on the road, when it is on your property, there we may have to close our eye until you solve your problems. But when it is not planned, it is not even it is in the road, we are suffering with the jam every day. Practically to move within this city, you need just to move.
It's a nightmare.
It's a serious nightmare. People can't move. It's becoming very difficult because the roads are congested with the buildings actually. Everybody is at the slightest opportunity, they are putting their buildings in the road. Like that showroom we are talking about, the man did not even touch a single part of his land.
Oh. The one by Toyota, the man.
Yes.
Backed by the Vice President.
Yes.
Mr. Secretary.
He did not. He left his plot empty and went for the road reserve, simply because the road reserve is in front of his plot.
Maybe it's a drive.
I have actually even been told that the inconvenience in Chambogo around the Banda,
yes,
the same man is the one who caused this trouble in the Banda. Rugazora.
Gone.
I received this information today.
Yes.
And you can see that for them, they are used to that type of steering government. Of steering government. This is theft, open theft. And
when they say it's only for 1 year and later they'll take it to another place.
We can't allow that. 1 year, you allow it for 1 year, it will stay there forever. Why should we block a road even for a single day, even for a single minute.
Honorable Luyiga, why should the Vice President be backing such things?
No. In fact, this is one of the something that has really caused. I mean, it has perturbed their minds because
I've seen some of the letters.
The right honorable.
They had a meeting. The minutes apparently were changed, and Jennifer says the minutes are false.
You know, Edmond, when you're given a title is Your Excellency, then the title must work exhibit. What
your character should match.
Really,
regardless of what you are doing.
Surely, because you were part of.
You know, he was used to this affair.
Okay.
Of when we were doing the cultural institutions bill, we say no, he say I is have it. That affair.
As Speaker of Parliament.
I saw him. You know.
Oh, really?
I saw him. We would refuse. We would even protest. He would say, you go to court.
Then you cannot be intimidated.
And of course, that
is what he was used to.
In that category, Edmond, the fountain of honor called the Constitution.
Yes.
I mean, how would the public see us? We don't want this a selective application of the law.
Yes.
We have seen Tinyafuza have been thrown out of the of Mabua.
And he's a general. One of only 6 generals.
Yes, second never fought.
And you have
seen Sebagara also being thrown out of Sezibwa.
2 acres.
Yes. And then even other. How shall we, of course, as Honorable was putting it, if we're to do, if we're to perform a due mandate,
you will throw out the Vice President.
Sure, no. What we're saying, if we're to also take on other big fish, how are you going to? When you are, when you're applying the law selectively. So we are saying also that
the Vice President must
Vice
go.
President, what he has done, of course, it is really.
I've seen some of the letters. This is not mere allegations. He actually was backing.
He has written a letter, but of course we have also responded to him as KCCA,
dismissing him.
We have given him a stand that tomorrow we are going ahead with a demolition. We don't know. Maybe our only prayer is Honorable Tinkasiimire. Of course, you've said it, but I think we should also emphasize our only prayer is if we don't find tomorrow when maybe PGB has. In fact, the president now is at.
But that will be an uncoordinated movement.
The president is at a test now. This is his brother, So we want to see. Because we have Article 21 of the Constitution. Why do all people are equal before the law, equality of the citizens. So we want to see foreigners maybe have another kind of category under which they fall. We want to see if they are above the laws of Uganda. So tomorrow, the Constitution is at stake. The public is watching, but for us, we are going ahead with our plans of demolishing this illegal structure.
7 o'clock, TV cameras should show up
tomorrow morning
to tell us. Well, listeners, you will be able to call in and contribute to this discussion at some stage. Honorable Luyiga, you want to say something?
Definitely, I really want to thank the press, both the electronic and the print, for highlighting this matter. For me, I came to learn about this problem in the press, and later on, they brought formally to our committee as a petition, and even when we were in our committee, all the cameras, all the pressmen, we are there to inform the Ugandans that we cannot allow illegal developments to block our roads. We want the law to apply equally to all Ugandans, to every person in this country. If you have to invest in this country, you also have to follow our law. Even when you are a vice president, you must...
Even the vice president?
You must provide leadership that is according to the law, basically.
And he was a speaker just before that, presiding over the...
Well, that is very, very unfortunate that when some people occupy offices, they choose to circumvent the law like he wanted to do. I am glad he has not have his field day. And
he's being thrown out, Vice President Secondly.
When we make our report on the floor of the House, he would have to face it enough to defend himself on the floor of the House. Why he did such a thing? Because it is not only going to end at breaking down the building. We are going to ensure that this report is discussed on the floor of the House.
You call him to account.
And Edmond, in fact, Honorable Barnabas was hinted on it. But let me just purpose of emphasizing. Honorable Second, by the time he was Speaker of Parliament,
yes.
This is when the Act was passed.
Yes, he presided over it.
And of course, as Honorable Tinkasiimire said, the basis upon which this law was formulated was basically they wanted to reduce some kind of politics. And of course, with the Local Government Act, there was a lot of ambiguities, and it was hard really to transform the city with the Act. So that's why we had this Cases Act. It was passed when Honorable Speaker Second, right now Vice President, was the Speaker of Parliament. So he presided over our parliament into making of the making of this act.
But even if it would not have been the act, there are other acts we are using this other act.
Yeah, Public Health Act. Public Health Act, Section 21.
Really, these are very, very old acts.
Right, surely.
He has, you know, he's a seasoned lawyer. We can't doubt this. He's a seasoned lawyer, highly experienced lawyer. With all that legal knowledge, he chooses to hold a meeting for criminals.
Edmond, just 1 minute. If we're having vendors who are thrown out of the city because of doing their business illegally, if you're having shops being closed,
even because the cash room,
really,
should also be expelled.
Really, we want the laws to be applied without selectiveness.
A cash room, even if it is owned by a man whose name is
KCCA.
Toyota, you'll throw it. Let's look at a list of the bills, some of the condemned buildings. Buildings are not according to plan. Royal Complex in Market Street, plot 16A. It's owned by Godfrey Chirumira Karole. Another building, JBK building, plot 25 Luum Street, owned by Deus Kaketo. Yamaha Center and plot 34 Luum Street, owned by Christopher Sazi. There's another commercial building on plot 6 Button Street. We don't have the name here. Plot 30, 32 on Nashville Road. Plot 34, 35, 36, 37 Nashville Road. Commercial building housing a shopping arcade, plot 17 Market Street. Commercial building on plot 13 and 13A, Wilson Road. Maybe you know them, you live nearby or you work next door to them. Commercial building on plot 56 Nashville Road. Commercial building on plot 16C, Market Street, owned by Drake Luyiga. Commercial building on block D, Market Street. Plots 1088, 2027, 3136, 3139 in Buye. Plot 1, Chimera Road in Tinda, where an approved parking space in the basement was turned into a nightclub. And we know about Imperial Royal Hotel, which they say was built largely in the road reserve, and the hotel has actually also blocked an access road, the one that separates it from Serena Hotel.
All attempts to listeners, that
why do you leave that road open?
That is our next project. Because we have asked the executive director to come back to our committee next week and make sure that she gives us a briefs. This was a complaint raised by members of parliament that we cannot continue to have a road blocked. If he constructed...
You want to reopen that road?
It must be open.
But maybe they want to set up a restaurant so people can have open air dining.
Even if...
In the middle of the road.
And the other thing that we were interested in, if that hotel, part of it is... Any part of it that is on the road, it must come down. So the owner should be prepared.
It's a 200-bed hotel.
Should be prepared. I don't care whether they are thousands. We have chosen that we must create order in this city.
It's even bigger than the Sheraton. The Sheraton is 150 rooms, I believe. So you want to bring it down. How about these other buildings I've just read out, whose names I've just listed? You'll tackle them as well?
One by one, all of them. Anybody who knows that he has a building that is touching a road reserve, he should prepare for a roast.
But they might know some big people in government. You don't think...
Even when they are big, I want to tell you, even if it is for the president, I know we can't prosecute him, but we can bring down his building.
The day of reckoning has come. This is Spectrum Radio 1. You can call in now. Our number is 041-4348-111, 031-226-0390, 031-226-1390. The chickens apparently have come home first in the capital. Spectrum, hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir, your name?
Good evening, Edmond.
Good evening, sir, your name?
I'm Barnabas Tinkasiimire Club Luyiga. My name is Makerere.
Spectrum, hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir, your name?
Yeah, this is Alex Nibale.
Alex in Mbale, yes? Mbale. Please call back in. Spectrum, hello?
Yeah, I'm Joshua.
Joshua, yes.
Yeah, the previous call actually, I think was thinking about what I wanted to say.
Spectrum, hello. Hello. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, your name?
Good evening, how are you?
Very well, your name?
Nick is my name.
Nick.
Yes, I want...
Spectrum, hello. Yes, your name?
Yes, my name is Daniel. Hello?
Yes, Daniel, you're live on air. Please go on.
Yes,
Listening to you, sir.
okay, thank you very much.
Spectrum, hello, final call.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, your name?
My name is Jim Ashoya.
Yes, Mr. Sher. All right, let's get back to the studio. Honorable Luyiga.
No, I think most questions, Honorable, they have been forwarded to Honorable, but for me, I'll just make clarification.
Yes.
For us as KCCA, we submitted to Parliament because
No, but let's take it back a little bit.
Yes.
You approved some of these buildings apparently.
Sure, KCC, but of course you knew, you know very well what was in KCC.
You know they had a mayor.
Yes, KCC was a rotten institution. KCC, not KCCA. KCC, of course, before we had we
had a flowered mayor.
Really, we had problems. Not only the mayor, but also the previous regime. Of course, corruption was at its peak in KCC. KCC. So having such buildings in that time of KCC, really, that it was. It was understandable.
Public road.
But now in case, so what we did in our term, we submitted the list of the buildings that are in illegal. That for us, we think they are illegally constructed. They are not in gazetted areas. We have sent them to Parliament for advice. And
does that include Imperial?
Of course, a list of them, and I know Honourable knows the list which we have provided for Parliament. The Parliament will advise us because we are an organ, we are accountable to Parliament, we report to Parliament. So they will advise us on how to go about. If they say KCCA tomorrow, if Parliament says it, put it down. We shall.
Who pays for that? Who pays?
Parliament, of course, an organ of government. Maybe they will sort it out.
Would you declare an amnesty for?
For us, we are just waiting for a guidance from Parliament.
Would you declare an amnesty for some of that building?
No. For us, of course, we have told you the matter now is beyond us. Because for us, we are saying we want the law to be followed. As simple as that. And for Photon, this structure,
the one that's owned by man.
For us, our concern was the 15 meters away from the road reserve. That is the law. That is the law, the Physical Planning Act. But then, for you, if you really you don't put in consideration such provisions of the law, we have an option but to say, please, and we give them an option, please try to demolish the building. If you do not, then we are going to do it on your behalf.
Do it on behalf.
So for us, waiting for Parliament to advise us. But other legal structures, when Parliament says, please, KCCA, demolish, we shall have an option but to demolish.
You said there was corruption in the last regime. Somebody has said there's a P7 dropout in one of your ranks, and he said he's not ashamed of it.
In fact, somebody asked about the Vice President. In fact, Edmond is still in the same point. Somebody has just said, as I heard somebody saying that even in Munyonyo, Honorable, the VP has built in a road reserve. So maybe you also investigate that to help us in that.
Left, right, and center.
Definitely, he should be finding another alternative accommodation before we embarrass him. Because for me and my committee, we have greater resolve to handle this matter, and I am glad that the executive of KCCA plus also the politicians have come on board for all of us, plus all the Ugandans, even the press, for all of us in this country. I thank the member who called in and said we must create sanity. This is what we want to see in this country, in this city. You have said there are people who already have approved plans. Yeah. We shall also reach to the root how these people got approved plans. If you bribed for your plan to be approved, definitely.
They don't give receipts for bribes, do they?
They don't. But we will get it. He will say so and so approved. And if you are the physical planner who approved a plan to be built on a road reserve, definitely prepare, be asking this man in reserve. But if you have a treasure, your road is going to be a clear one. They will carry you in that bus to Ruzira. I'm very, very serious. My committee,
where Kiprotich works, go on.
Where Kiprotich works, but we definitely he has many others. We will spare him because he has to bring more gold medals to this place. Those ones who can't bring more gold medals, they will handle them. I am telling all. This is a precursor. We are starting tomorrow with this building.
You will not leave no stone unturned.
One by one, all those buildings you have mentioned,
including Jesco and others.
Because for me, and if there is anybody who thinks he is going to start preparing to bring bribes to my members of parliament in my committee,
what are you going to do about that?
We are going to arrest them.
Really?
Yes, we are going to arrest them.
That is shillings or dollars, you'll arrest them.
We are going to arrest them. I have had these rich people who survive on bribing members of parliament. You are hitting a dead end in my committee. Don't dare leave us to do our job, and we are coming for all these buildings.
But Daniel said, he had a question, he said, did the vice president receive a bribe? Of course, we know he's a man.
Because one of the reasons we feel we had to ask him to come to the committee is what was motivating really?
He's protecting investors. You want to scare them.
An investor who is building on the road is up.
Well, he's going to sell cars, so he might as well put them where they're supposed to move.
For us, he will have to account. We are going to take him on the floor of the house, and he will give his reasons. And he may have taken it lightly. I don't want to preempt the recommendations of the report. It may end up going with him.
Oh, what do you mean?
We are not going to allow a vice president, a fountain of honor,
exactly,
to condone illegality.
What do you want to do to the old man? Talk to us. He's committed just one mistake. You forgive him.
What mistake? This is a serious mistake.
And he's doing it in the interest, the national interest.
Which interest?
Car showroom in the road. Well, we have to go.
The purposes of informing the listeners, it is not that he said the building is being constructed following rightful procedures. In fact, he's saying his main purpose. He's saying, if you may allow me quote, following a discussion, it was agreed among others, bearing in mind that the advanced stages of the construction, because it is advanced stages. So even if it is an illegal structure, as long as it's in advanced stages, then please. No. So we said, for us as cases, of course, we have, with the support of Parliament, we have said no. But for somebody who said, some directors like Jennifer, somebody, I think.
Maybe we'll talk about that another time.
Please.
We have to go. Thank you very much, the Honorable Barnabas Tinkasiimire. Fiery as ever, never changes this man. Buyaga West MP, Chairman of the Presidential Affairs Committee. Thank you for coming to Spectrum tonight. Honorable Bernard Luyiga, Makerere University KCCA councilor, Vice Chairperson of the Legal, Administration and Fiscal Planning Committee.
Chivumbi Nubutambara, Honorable Tinkasiimire, bad news to NRM.
Well, you can't be sure which side you will support.
No, you man, you are just here.
Hello, Uganda. This is Regina Bell, and for my very first time